Hey, thanks so much for joining me. I'm really glad you could be here. Today I'm going to talk about something that is super fun, hypochlorous acid. Actually, it is a really cool thing. It is a cleaner, but it also works for first aid. You can use it as a mouth rinse. No, I'm not crazy. And yes, it is something that is real. So during COVID, I started doing my research trying to figure out what would be the best way to clean, because we had no idea. I mean, we had no idea about the virus. We had no idea how strong the cleaner we needed. Did we need to use bleach on everything? And then you would go to Target or wherever you shop, and the aisles would be empty of all the cleaners. So after reading up online, I discovered that HOCl, which is hypochlorous acid, is real. It's a very legitimate cleaner. It actually works by breaking open the cell membranes and killing it, whether the virus or bacteria. So it's very, very, very effective. And they say it's much more effective than actual bleach, and it can be used at much milder formulations. So that is the cool part, because you can make it at home. You use simple tap water, a little bit of kosher salt, and a touch of vinegar, and you have this great cleaner. But not only do you have a great cleaner, you can also use it as a mouth rinse at a different amount, a different percentage of parts per million, but I'll explain all that in a minute. So you can do a mouth cleaner. You can fill squirt bottles for wound care, any kind of first aid. Eczema. I feel like this is one of those crazy wacky theory things, but it's real and it's really cool. But most of all, I love it for cleaning my kitchen counters, for cleaning my bathrooms, for cleaning surfaces like cutting boards, or even on fruits and vegetables. So it can be used on all these different things. The only difference is you need different strengths for different things. So while I was doing my research, I discovered what the different strength levels are, and I made a little list, and it's great. So you can make it at home, because the machine, this handy dandy machine, works really well for it gives you a choice of all the different strengths that you want to do. So for instance, there's a strength for if you're doing wound care, as a first aid spray or / for eczema rashes. If you're doing mouth rinse, that's a different one. The FDA actually has their own, limits, I guess, for how many parts per million, if you're doing it on cutting board surfaces. So that's a different one than putting on fruits and vegetables, or just for, cleaning and sanitizing. So I'm going to show you how the machine works, why I'm so excited about it, and how you use it. So let me come around here. So this is the machine that I bought on Amazon, but I do have a link to it if you're interested. It has been great. I think it's called an Echo One. And I picked it because it had the best reviews and people were really happy with it. And all you do is you fill it to the line with water. We add a teaspoon of vinegar, a couple little spoon. It comes with this little 1 gram spoon of kosher salt. And then you set the machine right here according to how strong you want it to be. So it comes with this chart. And then on the chart, it says, which level makes what strength. And then on top of it, I have, where are they? Test strips. Let me grab those. So I also check the pH, and I check to see how strong it is with chlorine strips. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty quick. They do say that with the homemade HOCl, you can figure that it'll last about 2 weeks. And so I'll just make fresh stuff every couple weeks. And then I take my, where it says, little handy dandy label maker, which I'll put over there. And I label each of the bottle. So I'll say like cleaner, and then I put the date on there. And that way it's really easy. I know that it's fresh when I'm grabbing it. Or for, here, I'll show you what I also do for like the mouth rinse. So this was one that we had bought on Amazon and decided to just start doing our own. And since I tested, I know that it's safe and it's the, you know, right pH and right parts per million of HOCl. So for here, like on the mouth rinse, I know like I want it to be 100 parts per million. So I put that on the bottle, which makes it really easy the next time I go to make it. Then that way I know, like, rather than having to look up like, oh, how many parts per million was the mouth rinse, I've got it already on the bottle. So it just makes it really quick, and I can whip this together really fast. So let me show you how it's done. Let me move that over to the side. Okay, so there's a little line right here, and we're just going to add cool tap water to that line, if I can see it. Where is that? Let go. Is it on the other side? Maybe it's on the other side. I'm like, okay, or I'm going blind. Nope, there it is. I am going blind. Okay. I think I actually need a little bit more water. So I'm gonna come over to the sink and get a little bit more water. Sorry if I made you dizzy there. All right, let's see there. Okay, so can you see that line right there? So that's what we wanted. And I'm gonna put you down right here and hope that you can see. I want you to see when I add this. Okay, so salt, it comes with this little spoon, which is a 1 gram spoon. And you have to add 2 of those. And you do have to use kosher salt for it, they say. So we're gonna add 1 right into the jug there. 2. Can you see that? Okay, right in there. And then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of just plain white vinegar, just, you know, all-purpose. I forget what that vinegar is called, but it just comes, I think it's just distilled vinegar, and it comes in, you know, those big inexpensive bottles. And we're gonna put that in. And you don't want to spill your vinegar on your floor, but that's okay, it does clean. All right, and then we plug it in. And so for this one today, we're gonna do for the mouth rinse, because that's what I need. So we wanna do, let's see, mouth rinse is 100 parts per million is setting 3. Okay, so we have setting 1, setting 2, and setting 3. So you just push, that's for 1, that's for 2, and that's for 3. And then you just let it do its thing. And then you can see as it's adding the electrical charge to the water. I mean, it seriously could not be simpler. I did look into a machine where it comes with everything pre-measured, and that was cool, but then you have to buy their little capsules. And I figured like I didn't want to have to be at the mercy of buying capsules all the time. So the actual machine was less expensive, but then you had to buy their little capsules to put in there. And this way, I mean, I always have kosher salt and vinegar in the house because, you know, well, being a chef, that's kind of a staple in the house. But it's great because now I can also make cleaner or sanitizer for my cutting boards, and I can spray down my fruits and veggies, which are important because, you know, a lot of fruits and veggies need to be cleaned off, especially like melons and melons, avocados. There's certain fruits and vegetables that tend to or can have bacteria on them and stuff coming from the farm. So that way, like, you just clean it really, really well, but just by giving it a little spritz. I don't do it on like porous fruits, like strawberries or berries or anything like that. Just on ones where I can kind of wipe it off. On the porous ones, I just use water and clean them that way, because you're not supposed to drink this very important, and you're not supposed to eat it, but you can use it to wipe everything down. Same with cutting boards. It's amazing for cutting boards. Just to know that I can spray it down, and on top of being washed, it's sanitized. Because I don't know if you know this, but soap does not actually sanitize your cutting boards and surfaces. It just like pulls the grease off and any kind of dirt and things like that. But for actually breaking down the bacteria, that's where this HOCl spray is amazing. And it doesn't have a smell to it. It has, you can probably hear my dogs barking, sorry. Billy, shh. Anybody else have dogs that bark when you don't want them to bark? Oh my gosh. Anyways, this does not have an aroma to it. Maybe like a touch of a vinegar smell, but like right now what I smell is vinegar that I spilled on the floor, which I'm going to get something right and clean it off before it takes off the nice surface on my wood floor. But anyways, it really is neutral smelling. It is neutral tasting when you do the mouth rinse. I'll put the link below in the comment, well, below the video, and you'll be able to click on my blog link and see all the different parts per million, depending on what you want to make. If you want to make one of these, or, you know, get the machine and make your own HOCl. So if you want to do mouth rinse or first aid spray or anything like that, I'll have all of that so that you can just easily kind of print it out or, you know, take a look at it. If you have an HOCl maker or machine, I'd love to hear what you think. And if you have a different one, like, you know, how you like it. I'm just fascinated with this because it's relatively new to me, like the past year. And I'm like, where has this been all my life? Because I really would have been using this years ago. All right, and then let's take a look right here. So you can see it's not done. But the water looks really kind of cloudy from the electrical current. But we're almost there. So I think this probably takes like 5 minutes if you're doing the one cycle. And then if you're making for cleaner, that's 200 parts per million. And so you do the same thing once again. So once it's flipped itself off, you just push the buttons again till it's at the third one, turn it back on. And then when it's done, you have your cleaner. And this is enough. This makes enough for 2 of these bottles, which is great. So I have like one that's in the kitchen, one that's in the bathroom. And, oh, another thing that I read. So I can only tell you what I've read as far as this goes. But what I read was that you have to store it in plastic. And I don't know why glass isn't supposed to work, but apparently they said that plastic keeps a concentration where it's supposed to be. And I guess I don't know why glass wouldn't work that way, because that is why I'm using plastic. I do try to use glass as much as I can, but it really wasn't a big deal to get these bottles, and I just reuse them over and over and over again. So yeah, that's been kind of nice. Again, like something that I bought on Amazon. I'll put a link to it, but I think I got like a 8-pack of the bottles, so it's great. I have like one in our trailer and one in every room of the house, and everything labeled though, because then you know what concentration and what room it's supposed to be going and used in. All right, we're almost there. Isn't this exciting? This is really exciting. I think it makes a sound when it's done. Okay, see how it's blinking now? That's telling me that it's done. So that's it. It took like 5 minutes, and you now have what is considered a 100 parts per million. So you can use it for the mouth rinse or for the skin spray. And I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but they actually, like plastic surgeons and surgeons use this apparently in surgery oftentimes to clean the wound. So, I mean, they're not using a homemade version. They're using one that, you know, comes from a lab or whatever. But this is what they're using for cleaning the bacteria out of a wound. So I think it's really, really a great way to go about wound care. And every time I've used it, I've had great results with it. And I know we're not supposed to use hydrogen peroxide, so now I use this. All right, and then I wanted to show you, so I'm gonna set this down, if you can see. All right, so test strips. So just to test this, so if I'm using it for anything like their skin or as a mouth rinse, I test first for the pH. So I just rip off a little piece like that and put it in. And then I look, and it's perfect. It's at number 4. So that is perfect pH for this, is where we want it. And then now I'm going to test just to make sure that it's 100 parts per million in strength. It's not actually chlorine, but you do use the chlorine test strips for this. All right, and then test. And then when we look, it's at 100 parts per million, which is right there. So it's great. I mean, I have never had this where the test strip came back with a different reading. I did one time think, well, maybe I should try adding a little bit more vinegar to it just to really, you know, get that pH correct. But that wasn't good, and my husband said it tasted sour, so we skipped that. So it almost tastes like when you're rinsing with it, like salt water. There's a hint of like vinegar to it, but not really. I mean, it's only a teaspoon for this whole thing, so it's great, and it's really made a difference for my husband, which is why he keeps using it for mouth rinse and everything else. So I hope that you maybe give it a try if you've been wanting to, do something that's more of a natural cleaner without using vinegar and some of these other things, because I don't believe that vinegar actually kills like this does. I think instead vinegar more cleans, and this does clean, but it also, obviously disinfects at the same time. But I would say, like, if you're looking for something to clean and disinfect, then this works well for both. It's not a degreaser, but it definitely does clean well. And I guess that's it. So thanks so much for joining me. Remember, I'll have all the information below and also on my website with a link to that. And thank you so much for joining me. And if you're enjoying these videos, I would love it if you could like this video below and also subscribe. And again, more videos to come, and a lot of cool things that we discover and think are really cool, or different ways we're using them, and things that we buy and why we buy them when we enjoy them. So anyways, thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.